Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you about the latest from Tetrarch, Unstable, out April 30th on Napalm Records. This album has 10 tracks, 37 minutes in length, and this is the band's second full-length studio album. They are an American metal band. Now, as far as structure is concerned, this album doesn't have one. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter how you play it. It doesn't matter if you play it in the original order. It doesn't matter if you play it on shuffle. It doesn't matter if you play it from the last song to the first song. Nothing is lost as far as the overall quality and playability of the record. This is an album that lives off of the strength of the individual songs, not necessarily in the order that they put together. The structure doesn't dictate the quality of the record, and it doesn't improve it or diminish the playability of the album. Now, when you have an album built in this format, normally the tracks start to feel like they're breaking apart, and it feels more like a compilation, less like a full-length record. It's not the case with this album. The strength of the individual songs and the same elements that they used from track to track and some of the same structures that stay true from song to song really allow this album to still feel as one and still stay together. The songs just work really well regardless of what song came before and what song comes after, and that is because of those elements that really keeps the album together, really allows the album still feel like a full-length record and really live off of the quality of the individual songs and allow them to coexist with each other in any format you wish to put together for your listening experience. Once you get into the soundscape of this album, perhaps you'll try to define what this record is all about. What's the genre? What's the style? What's the approach? I don't think you can do that. I think you can talk about influences, and you can see them in the soundscape throughout the record. You can see new metal, you can see metalcore, you can see electronic metal, you can see a little bit of industrial. All of these things are there, but there's not one single one of them that really dictates the overall experience. The same way that the structure doesn't define the quality or the playability of the album, this is not a record that's defined by one genre. There's not one single element, even within the soundscape, that pushes the record forward. This is an album that really lives off of the quality of all the individual pieces and then how they come together in order to paint this huge, big picture of sound and experience. And that's exactly what you're going to get with this record. Now, within that sound, there are three driving forces. I don't think either one of them drives the album more than the other. They're just the three main core elements that really come to the forefront in terms of being the main core pieces of the overall big picture, and that is the bass, drums, and guitars. I love the bass on this album. Let me start off by saying that. It's not hidden, it's in the forefront. It adds a lot of grounding to the sound. It makes the sound feel a little bit more thick. It gives definitely depth of sound and experience, but it also makes this album super groovy. The songs that you really feel the bass moving into the forefront, you could feel the grooviness really increases exponential. So I love that about the record. I love that about the bass. I love the sound that it has. I love how it's used and how much energy it gives to the tracks. The drums are very consistent. I don't think the drums are one of those dynamic elements that changes from track to track, where that gives you different looks, different feels depending on where you are within the song. I felt like it was a very consistent approach, a very cohesive approach, perhaps one of the main elements of this album that doesn't change or deviate that much from the beaten path from the first to the last song. And you need some consistency when you have an album that offers this much volatility. I still love the sound of the drums. I love how heavy they are at times, and I love the foundation that they created for this record. They're really the motor that allows everything else to be as dynamic, as eclectic as it is. If you don't have one element grounding the record, then nothing holds it down, and then the album starts to kind of fall apart. The drums are definitely the element that's keeping this boat afloat. Last but not least, out of those three elements, it comes the guitars. I was expecting the guitars to drive a little bit more of the sound, to be the motor, the energizer that really pushes this record forward. It's not the case. They just blend in with all the other elements. They blend in with the bass, they blend in with the drums, they blend in with the overall experience, and they just become one of the pieces. They become one of the parts, but not necessarily the one that jumps into the forefront on any given track and really feels like it's energizing the song or giving direction to the track. This is an album that just gives direction to itself. It doesn't depend on a single element, not even the guitars. I like the solos on this album. I wish they had done more of them, especially the ones that go a little bit longer. I think that's something that they have to look into it as they move forward, because this album at some points in time really called for something a little bit more unique, a little bit better crafted. As far as the solos are concerned, sometimes they felt a little simple, a little processed, if you will, and that is something that doesn't take quality away from the record, but it does impact the overall strength of the guitar sound overall. Last but not least, let's talk about the vocals. I felt that the vocals were super dynamic. They really match how eclectic the overall experience of this record is. It's not a one-size-fits-all as far as vocals are concerned. You're going to get all sorts of different approaches, all sorts of different tones. I love the use of backing vocals, of layers, of almost choirs. It really makes the album feel almost like a live experience. It has that kind of energy. Overall, makes the record, from a soundscape perspective, feel more intense, feel more aggressive, feel more alive. And that's exactly how this album comes across. The vocals play a huge role in that experience because they really give the energy that the record needs, and they're the perfect partner to everything that is happening as far as the sound is concerned. Overall, this album is an absolute blast. It's easy to comprehend, it is easy to digest, it's heavy at times, it's groovy, it's melodic, has a little bit of darkness. I love all the different influences that they brought to the table, but perhaps the most important aspect of this album is that it doesn't fit in one specific genre. It really lives off of the quality of everything that it has to offer, and it doesn't depend just on one single thing in order for it to work. That is, to me, the key factor of how this album is as good as it is. Now, as far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with Take a Look Inside. Some dark vocals on this track. I really love that approach. I think it fits perfectly, and this is the case definitely in the verses. The verses really feel very dark. Musically, this is a song that stays very compact, very cohesive. It doesn't change that much, regardless if you're in the verses or in the chorus. The chorus change really comes from the vocals. The clean vocals in the chorus bring a different perspective, bring some melody, but that melody is a haunting melody that makes a track feel super hooky and super catchy. So this is a song that overall feels very consistent, and then the vocals are really the mechanism that changes the direction of the track and changes your perception of the song as you progress through it. It closes off very heavy. The song almost becomes heavier as it moves towards the tail end, and that's the perception that you end up sticking with. That is a very heavy song, but the reason why I gravitated to this track is really because of the chorus and how hooky and catchy it is. Next, Addicted, heavy melodic track. That's pretty much the combination of the two elements that make up the DNA of this song. The vocal layers are great, and they're great because they're not just used in one specific part of the song, they're used throughout the whole entire track. They're used in the verses, they're used in the chorus. The chorus has a little bit of darkness to it, but it's a beautiful darkness, and that all comes once again from the vocals, from the delivery, from the sound, from the tone. It really brings that to the forefront. Musically, once again, this is a song that was constructed very similar to Take a Look Inside because it stays very consistent from beginning all the way to the end. It doesn't really fluctuate that much. Perhaps the main change in this song, when you compare it to Take a Look Inside, is the guitar solo, my favorite one on the record. I just felt like it fit perfectly into this track. It just has the right dynamics, the right sound, the right approach in order to really work well, and overall making the song very impactful. Last but not least, Push Down, shortest track on the album, but it's a song that packs a lot of intensity, it packs a lot of aggression. It also has a great solo. It's between these two tracks. It's my two favorite ones. It's really hard to say which one is number one and which one is number two. Perhaps Addicted pushes a little bit itself a little bit more into the forefront in terms of what adds to the overall song. But the solo on this track is just phenomenal. But a song that packs a lot of intensity, a lot of aggression into a short period of time, and it has to deliver it and deliver it in a fast pace. It's not a really fast moving song, but it feels like it's coming at you with some intensity and some aggression. So the song feels faster than what it actually is, and it packs that style and that approach, not just musically but also vocally. The backing vocals on this song are really memorable, specifically in the chorus, because it feels like an anthem. It's a track that's constructed to be a musical anthem. It feels that way all the way through. It feels that way from its length, from its construction, from the musicality that it has, and definitely how they use the vocals within the chorus. This is it. This is Tetrarch, Unstable, out April 30th on Napalm Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.